Chairman Stradley, I have Glenn, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm John Brovant, City VERO resident. Been on the Finance Committee for the last year and a half, I guess, thereabouts.
Some of that's yours, isn't it?
I just wanted. I didn't know how many people were familiar with Glenn as our vice chairman.
Okay, James. I think we can move on.
All right. As I mentioned before, the charge that we have discussed at some length is that what can this joint committee do to lower rates pre-sale in order to move forward with the commitments at the direction of the City Council to look at what could, in three different dimensions. One is the finances, the second is management and operations, and the third is technology. We have with us Tom Richards from the power plant. We have Ted Fletcher from the T&D, and obviously we also have Craig Dunlop, who is our financial advisor for the city. So we do have, and of course, some council members, the mayor, and both commissions. So to start off, one of the movers or prime movers or recommendations from the council came from Vice Mayor Kramer. And so I would invite the Vice Mayor up to provide his perspectives, and online had been in an agenda backup some information he had previously provided. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Peter. Kramer, 55 Tradewinds, Vero Beach. I don't know if you have all of that, the backup. I'm not going to really go off of that. A lot of that was related to the rate increase that we had late last year. Since then we've kind of cut back just a little bit on the rates. We'd have to go back and redo those to see whether it's really relevant or not. One of the larger things that, there's several of the larger things that I wanted to look at. Just out of curiosity, everybody's got this, right? This presentation was given yesterday. I think it's actually really a good graph to kind of show where it is that we can cut that actually makes the most difference. I've got a number of items that we can cut. However, it really is concentrated on a 33%. When we're talking about pre-sale cuts in order to get the rates down, we really can only operate within that 33%. The other side of that is the wholesale power purchase contracts, and that's really where you need to focus in order to get the rates down. There's a number of gentlemen that I work with that I talk to about possibilities. I've got one that happens to run the utility system that Mr. Dunlap, did he run off to somewhere? He did. Is from, where their rates are about $51 per megawatt hour on the wholesale side. If Vero Beach were to do that, we could cut out $22 million on our system, which would be extremely significant. However, they had the benefit of being able to go out to bid quite often and use the market quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through several items, and then we're going to just concentrate on that 33%. The first one was the removal of the power plant. This is something that it is an option. It's not as though I am advocating wholeheartedly to get rid of the power plant. However, with our OUC contract, we are unable to run the power plant in order to peak shave and reduce our demand off the OUC contract. If the OUC contract had allowed us to run our power plant, we could have easily been able to save $6 to $7 million the last 3 years by utilizing the power plant. However, the power plant, we've got about $5 million a year to run the thing. That's usually operational costs, and a lot of the other costs that are above the budgeted cost are in the OUC contract in the adjustment period, or in the adjustment area, which is usually fuel and a lot of the power purchase agreement adjustments. What I did is I used Cindy's model. I hope Cindy doesn't get too bent out of shape, and I hope I used it correctly. But usually on her model, for about every $1 million you save, the rate goes down at about $1.60. And that is something I think if you played around with it, you'd probably find that out. If the power plant was off, ideally saving $5 million, that would get you into reducing the rates by $8. This is something that quite frankly, does it whet your appetite to say this is something that we can really look at? $8 off the rate, is that significant to look at? Keep in mind that even with with the plans of going forward with the sale of FP&L, you're still going to take the power plant offline either way. So it's either way you go at it, the power plant is gone. The transactional attorneys, that's $1.1 million. I'm sure that's going to cause some issues with people, but again, there's $1.75 right there on the rates. That's something, if you want to take it out of the rates and put it as a line item, you can. However, that's up to the recommendation if you guys want to go that direction or not. Mr. Dunlap, I guess you're here to talk about finances. I'm not going to go over that. I'll let you go ahead and give that. But again, there's some savings there. One of the other ideas that came up was the financing of some of the capital assets in the renewal and replacement program. I know some of the staff members were kind of at odds at whether you should pay cash for that or not. My feeling is that it wouldn't be a bad idea to pay cash for it up till 2018, or I should say finance it up till 2018 when the big $5.1 million bond payment comes due, and try to capture that 2018 payment up front. You're looking at dropping probably another $3 million or another $4 or $5 off the rate with these changes. Like I say, the big item on the expenditures is going to be that fuel and the power purchase agreements. We do have the option to talk to some of our people about renegotiating some of the contracts. The market out there right now is extremely good. I'm seeing prices from the $6 to $7 for demand megawatt hour right now with OUC. We're paying about 12 to 13. So on the demand side, we're paying about twice what the market is out there. On the variable side, we're paying about market price right now. They're keeping up with it. If we were to get the market prices for these power agreements, there's about $8 to $9 million that we could shave off here. Is it possible to get FP&L rates? You'd have to get awfully aggressive. Please keep in mind that in 2002, the city of Vero Beach did beat FP&L in their rates. We do have that budget. We could go back to that budget and work off of that and see where that takes us. But with that, it's really going to be up to you if you guys want to go off in these directions and see whether it's worthwhile chasing this down. Quite frankly, I would love to go ahead and start chasing some of these down and use the staff to give us a little bit more numbers to substantiate the savings. Forgive me. My charge when I ran for election was to get the rates down, get them down fast. That's what I intend to do, and that's what I intend to keep coming forward with. If you guys have any questions, I did skip over a couple of them because I think Mr. Dunlap will address it in a little more detail. But I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Scott?
Mr. Kramer, I appreciate your presentation, and I think there are some questions, but hopefully we'll be looking at some of these things in detail. And are you having to leave now, or would you be here for the rest of the meeting? I think the clerk told me we had to be out of here by 5 tonight, but.
Well, I would imagine they don't want the staff to have overtime on this one, but Personally, I just wanted to kind of gauge the level of interest of the commissions before I put a lot of work into this. I'd like to make sure that the commission wants to see it before I go too far with it.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind, then I would, if we start talking about these things in detail, and I'd like to talk about eliminating the power plant. What are the pros and cons of that? In greater detail about the financing capital. But I'm not sure, Mr. Gore, do we jump into those things right now, or?
Well, what I had thought would be fruitful is to have some of the presentations, because they become intertwined with each other as you go forward. And so I would beg your forbearance, obviously, and ask any questions. But as long as all the principles are going to be here, we're going to go from topics that intertwine in terms of they hit both the financial and the management operations piece. When we begin to talk to such things as outsourcing, when we start talking about phased retirement, if we talk about having a director of the total operations to have a consultant, these are the issues that become there's synergy amongst them. So I would prefer, if we could, and of course, public comment at any time. But because we have our financial advisor here, I would like to move, if it's all right with both commissions, to have Craig give his presentation in terms of the.
Well, Peter, if I would, I mean, is there consensus to see this? Mr. Rucknonkel, would you?
Mr. Chairman, I could. One quick question that might take us from point A to point B. Do we have reopener clauses in the agreements with OUC and other power providers?
There is a reopener with OUC. However, it's at OUC's discretion. I have been talking to